Hey there, my name is Megan Towns. I am a learning consultant for the Microsoft team in Australia. I have the fun job of working with teachers all around New South Wales and other parts of Australia to deliver professional learning workshops. And today I have the fun job of speaking to you through the camera to teach you a little bit about Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams is one of the newer products to Office 365. I like the fact that it provides a digital hub for you to work as a teacher with the other teachers in your school, but also a digital hub for you to work with your class as well. And there's even the option if you want to work with your professional learning communities, perhaps within your school, but also outside of your school as well, perhaps teachers in your district or teachers in organisations that you might belong to. So let's have a look at how you can set up a staff team in Microsoft Teams. So the cool thing about Microsoft Teams is you can create a team anytime, anywhere, on any device. So it could be a Mac, it could be a PC, it could be an iPad. All you need to do is log on to your 365 dashboard. So you head to office.com, and then once you are there, you can click on Teams, and this is your dashboard. It's your Teams dashboard to access all the teams that you've made or teams that you're a member of. So once you're into the Teams interface, all you need to do is click on Add Team, and you can create a team. So you have 4 options. You can create a class team, a PLC team, a staff member team, or an anyone team. So obviously it depends on your purpose in creating the team. In this case, I'm going to create a staff team. I'm going to pretend that I'm a Year 5 teacher teaching in a primary school. So I'm going to create a staff member team, and perhaps I'm leading stage 3 for this year. So I want to create a team. I'll call it 2018 Stage 3 Teachers. You have the option to make it private or public. So I recommend you make it private, and that way only the people you invite into the team can see it and engage with it. If you make it public, it means everyone in the school can see it. So I'll click Next to create that team, flicks through, and then you get to add your teachers to this team. So I would add those teacher names, everyone that teaches that stage, and then we would be off and away. So I'll add one more person, and then we add those. You can also choose at this point to make them a co-owner. So perhaps you lead the team together, perhaps you need to change membership. You can always change them from a member to an owner. Out of the box, you get a team with just one general channel. So next to the team name, you can click on the ellipsis and add more channels. So I'm going to add a channel right now. I might call this one Meetings. Okay, and that would be where we save all of our meeting notes, have discussions about it. Potentially you could use Teams to even eradicate meetings and place all of your content in here. So I'll create another channel, and this one I will call Events. Okay, so excursions and things like that you might have throughout the year. And then underneath that ellipsis, yet again, I'll create another one called Programming. Okay, so just a few examples of how you might add channels to your teams. So once you've got those channels set up, you can add content into each channel. So we have in the General tab, you have Conversations, Files, and a Staff Notebook. So Conversations is pretty simple. It allows you to add all sorts of different content and have a conversation with people about it. So I might just say, hey there, welcome to the start of the year. And then hit enter, and people can reply to that. Nice simple use of it. You can also add files. At the moment, this team's still setting up my files, so I'll wait for that to populate. You can also add emojis. You can add GIFs. Let's add that one. And you can also add stickers. So there's lots of edu-based stickers in there that teachers will love. So let's grab one of those rubber stamps. There we go. The other great thing about Teams is the ability to meet online. So that's the final icon that you see in your Teams interface in Conversations. So if I click on Meet Now, there will be a little installation process that you go through to install Teams onto your desktop, and you can use it in the desktop interface. But basically, once you click on Meet Now, everyone in that team can meet together. So that's great for staff members who might be part-time and want to join from home. Staff member might be at home with a broken leg or something unfortunate like that, and teachers will be able to join and meet together. It might be that you exist in a school where moving around is a little bit difficult. So the ability to use that nice simple Meet Now tool can definitely save time when working together and meeting together. Moving along the tabs up the top of our channel, when I click on Files, this is basically a repository, a place for me to store files. Every teacher in this section has permission to add and edit the files. So you can create folders, you can create new documents, and you can also transfer existing documents, perhaps from your computer, from external drives, directly into the team. So I'm just quickly going to create a Word document in here, and we might call it Ideas for the Year Ahead. And once you click on Create, the great thing about working and engaging with files in Teams is that you always stay inside the Teams interface. It's not opening up any extra tabs in your browser. You're very much staying inside the Teams interface, which makes life a little bit easier for some of the teachers who might be a little bit hesitant in using some of the 365 technologies. So I might just create a quick little table. Let's just put the teacher and ideas. So each of the teachers can contribute their idea here. And what's really cool in all of the Teams experiences is the ability to have a conversation. So if I click on Start Conversation, on the right-hand side, a little panel opens up, and I'm able to contribute ideas and yeah, very much a conversation that you normally wouldn't put into your document because it's quite informal. So that conversation panel allows for some relaxed conversation as you and your teachers work together on documents. Looking forward to hearing ideas. So working with documents inside Teams is quite simple. That's files. Moving further along those tabs, we have what's called a staff notebook. We can click Set up Staff Notebook and go through the process of setting up a OneNote notebook that is very much the staff notebook experience. Continuing along, you then just have a plus in your channel. So you can add more tabs to your channel. You've got the ability to add existing 365 content, or further down, you can add content from some external providers. Some great education-based ones, Flipgrid, so the ability to contribute video content from your students. You could also add YouTube videos, and yeah, it makes it easier to customize the Teams experience when you can add those tabs. The next thing we're going to look at is how you can chat within Microsoft Teams. All right, so within the Teams interface, over on the left-hand side, you have a number of icons that allow you to move around from your Teams into other features. So one of those features is chat. So I've got the ability perhaps to send a quick message to a colleague of mine to find out if they're going to be free at lunchtime, for example. So I just click the little square new chat icon, and I can quickly search for a person's name and find out if they're going to be free at lunchtime. So, are you free at lunch for a quick chat about assembly? And what that potentially does is it frees up your email inbox. So I know a lot of people's inboxes get clogged up with a bit of a conversation via email. So being able to use chat as your informal conversation makes for a much better experience, particularly in your inbox. So once you pop in those questions or have a conversation, obviously the person can answer back. They'll get a notification if they're using Teams on the desktop, or if they have a mobile device, they can download the Teams app and they'll get notified in that way as well. As you start to talk to the person or people, because you can have a chat with more than one person, you can add files to the conversation. So when I add a file from my OneDrive or from my computer, it will add itself into the files repository for you and that particular person or the people that you are talking to. So what it means is, again, you're freeing up your inbox. You've got this lovely flow of all the information that you're talking to your colleagues about, and it's all in that one spot, that hub for teaching and learning in Teams. Another benefit of using chat in that way is that everything in Teams is searchable. So whether you wanted to search the content of your Teams or whether you wanted to search the content of your chats, you can search for that conversation you might have been having earlier in the week about that particular document. So I might just search for the document that I just added, and it appears in that list on the left-hand side. And I can click on that and be taken straight to where I was talking about it. So it's a great tool for tracking your thinking, really, and going back in time as opposed to searching your inbox. We've already looked at setting up a staff team and how you can use that with your staff. One of the other types of teams you can set up is a class team. And there's some extra features in the class team that you won't see in any other teams. I'm just going to pop into this primary class that I've set up earlier, and you'll notice that the general tab is slightly different to the staff team. So you still have conversations, you've still got the ability to add files into each channel. You get a class notebook instead of a staff notebook. So that's great for students to be able to contribute their own work in their student sections. And then you get an assignments tool. So it's a lovely way for students to submit work to you, whether it's a formal assessment task or whether it's just classwork or homework is really up to you as a teacher. You can see in my list here that I've already set some work to be handed in for the coming weeks ahead. So I'm just going to show you how you can create that new assignment. You click on New Assignment. You have the option to assign it to one or many classes. In the secondary context, there are teachers who teach PE to Year 7, but they teach it to 2 or 3 different classes. So you can save a little bit of time and distribute that task to multiple classes if you want. Then you give it a title. So I might just call this Australian Parliament as the title. And then you might put some instructions in. Please complete this task as soon as you can. And then you have some options around what you might like to show to the students within that assignment. So you can attach reference materials for them to refer to while completing the assignment. And that can take many forms. You can add from your OneDrive. So that's just simply a matter of accessing your file structure, selecting the file you want to add as a reference material, and that will upload automatically. You can also add a direct link. So you might copy and paste that from the internet, or in this case, I know what the address is, so I'll just type it straight in and then just put Australian Government as the title to display. You click on attach, and that link will be provided to students. The other option you have is to link directly to a page in the content library of your OneNote class notebook. So that will just display both the sections and pages within your notebook, and you can choose which page students will see as their reference material. So they're the 3 types of reference materials you can include with assignments. And in regards to what students hand in, it's exactly the same. You can add a file directly from OneDrive. You can add a page from your class notebook. And the third option is to just add a blank file. So I will make it that students do have to contribute to a blank file. So in this case, I'll make it a PowerPoint document. We'll just call that Australian Parliament as well. So I click on attach. And what that means is each student will get a copy of it, and they just click on that to complete their assignment. They don't have to save a copy, they don't have to create a new version. And when you collect the work or when you mark the assignment, each student's file will be displayed with their name attached to it. So it makes for a nice smooth assignment process. In regards to your due date, obviously you get to set that. You can determine the time that it's due, and you can also determine if you're going to allow late turn-in or if you want to assign points to that assignment. And then once you're finished setting that up, you just click on Assign. So yeah, that's the easiest way to create assignments and get students to submit work in Microsoft Teams. So via our Twitter page at MSAU-EDU, we've had some questions come in from teachers about using Teams. So the first question comes from Nolene Callahan at Glenwood High School, and she asks, what's the user scenario for Teams and SharePoint and Yammer and Outlook? And it's a really good question and one that I am asked quite often. 365 is a huge suite of tools, and it's really difficult sometimes for a teacher to know when to use which tool and for what purpose. So I think Teams is very much for you to communicate with your inner circle. So that's for working with your teacher groups across the school. It's for working with your class or classes within a school, and perhaps for working with your broader network of teachers in your community. So it might be that you have a Year 2 group of teachers in your community that you want to create a professional learning community with, and that's going to work really well in Teams. Okay, so class, teacher, and teacher networks within Teams are great. We then have Yammer. Okay, so that's like a social network within Office 365. And that's a much broader experience. So if you wanted to communicate across, your entire sector, say the New South Wales Department of Education has an entire Yammer network, that's a great tool for you to communicate across a broader group of people. And then we have SharePoint. So SharePoint is really good for more of your formal file storage. Again, it's anytime, anywhere access through the cloud, but you'd very much have a SharePoint site ongoing for all of the files that you might have traditionally left on a school server. While email or Outlook is going to be better used for your formal communications, and more likely it will be used for communicating with people outside of the school. I think Teams is a really great way to eradicate half of your email inbox and keep your conversations within the Teams interface rather than clogging up that email inbox. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarification around which tool you should use in which situation. So like I said, just to summarize that, Teams is very much to communicate with your inner circle within a school. Yammer is more for communicating to your wider groups within, across a whole department. With SharePoint, you're looking at that more for pure file storage. And Outlook is for communicating with the rest of the world outside of your teaching fraternity. So we have another question. This one comes from Ross Johnson at Tuggerah Lakes Secondary College up on the Central Coast. He's at the Tumbiumbi campus, and he asks, can forms be added into Teams? And the answer to that is very much yes. I'm just going to jump into a team and show you how you can easily add a form into Teams. So within any channel, you just click on that plus button and you will see forms as an option. So if you've set up a quiz or a survey in the past, you'll be able to select that from a drop-down list. Or you might want to create one from scratch. But I'm going to choose an existing form. So I will just pop that quick quiz into my channel. And just like the files that we looked at before, it embeds itself into the Teams interface. So kids aren't going off onto different tabs and pages to access the quiz. They're able to complete it here inside the Teams interface. So they'd complete that and then they'd click submit. And you are able to go then into your forms dashboard via 365. You can answer or mark that particular quiz and send the results back to kids. And when they come back into Teams and access that tab, they'll see the results of their form, and it's personalized to each student that's filled it out. So it's a great little way to integrate the quizzing experience into your class team. So thanks for that question, Russ. And then our final question is, how does existing learning management systems integrate into Teams? So it may be that your school has gone down the path of using Canvas as their LMS. And that's great news, as we have partnered with Canvas, and they have integrated Teams into Canvas, and vice versa. You can integrate the Canvas experience into Teams. And we're now working with other partner organizations, LMS organizations, to be able to integrate more environments into the Teams experience. So your conversation within Teams can complement what you're doing in your LMS. So yeah, thank you for that question, Mitchell Squires. So yeah, there's some questions that hopefully many of you have had out there, and some potential answers for you to share with your staff. All right, so that is a somewhat brief introduction to Teams. It is very much a great tool for individual teachers to use, But if your entire school is going to go down the path of using Teams, I think it's a great idea for leaders to get together and discuss best strategy for use around teams, who should create them, what structure you might have in each team for consistency, so that as students move from class to class, or as teachers move from stage to stage each year, there's some kind of consistency around how those teams look and how those teams operate. Have fun using Teams. Don't forget you can always tap into the educator community to learn more about using the Teams software, and we're always updating and adding new features to Teams as well. So keep an eye on our blog and other social media spaces to see how you can continue to use Teams and have fun.